Hello there, guys, and welcome back, and welcome back, and welcome back. What's going on? Everything's buffering. My apologies. I don't know what was going on here. The time was running down, and then I was just sat on the 0-second screen for half an hour. I'm not sure if you were looking at me already then, or whether you saw nothing. I do apologize. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a couple of days. Out the flow. Because we're back. I mean, there's a lot to discuss today, so I'm not going to just call it a preview stream because we're doing a bit of a cup final hangover. We're doing a bit of a, transfer news, injury news, and then, of course, we'll get into tomorrow's game against Leicester City. My days, what a few days it's been. I just got back home from London yesterday. Obviously, I did almost promise you guys that I would be streaming from London, which was the plan. Unfortunately, where I was staying, that Airbnb, that Wi-Fi was really poor. And I didn't quite have enough mobile data to be like, okay, I'll just go stream. And the mobile data wasn't that great either anyway, if I'm honest. So yeah, in the end, I unfortunately had to abort that plan. I was like, okay, I'm traveling mostly for me, not for the content. Maybe I shouldn't have, considering how the Saturday result went, but we'll get to that. Aaron, by the way, big up yourself. I have been meaning to reply to you on Twitter. I've seen your message. I've just not had time to give you a proper reply yet. Met him on Saturday, bought me a pint. What a legend. Appreciate you very much, mate. But boys, how are we feeling? Joined by my two most wonderful of guests. Don't tell the other guests, but by my two most wonderful of guests. Why don't I start with you, Clutch? How are you feeling? I mean, Saturday, it's been a while now. It's been a while. It's Wednesday, obviously, but I don't know. We've obviously been speaking plenty in the group chat over the last few days, and I've probably clearly made it very clear that my vibe's been a bit ruined, I mean, it's been building over the last 2 weeks anyway, but that cup final for me really was like the tip of the iceberg. I was just annoyed. I was just annoyed at everything and at everyone.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I don't know. I am disappointed that we lost, but at the end of the day, it's nothing to scoff at. When I come on here and I said a couple of weeks ago that we are closer to Liverpool than we may understand or we may like to say, and then I have the chat telling me, "Oh no, you're wrong," but then we've not lost to them in 90 minutes all year. That's the second best team in England, according to everyone. And yet we hold them every time. Yes, our finishing is poor. That's the same story that we've had. But I thought it was a very back and forth game. I thought we had opportunities that we didn't put away. And then to go into the penalty shootout, and unfortunately for Aspie and Mason, that they missed their penalties. But I'm not gonna go overboard on that reaction because I do think, even though I do believe it favors the penalty shooter, I think those situations.
I didn't, by the way, realize that this was a debate either. I thought this was very clear. To me, it was almost like on goalies, there's kind of no pressure at all, unless obviously the pen is taken badly and then he gets a hand on it, then you can debate it. But that's only if the penalty is taken poorly that even gets into the equation. So
yeah,
but we'll get to that debate later. Sorry, Clutch, continue.
Yeah. For me, I think the keeper has to guess which way to go, and that's all he can do. The penalty shooter's got to decide where he wants to put it and put it there. So I do think there's more pressure on that regard. But, I do feel a little bit more positive about that. I do think there was periods like 20 minutes here and there. A lot of the reviews and post-match reviews I've seen they made me a little bit more positive than I think I was originally at. So even Tuchel himself has said that he's proud of where we were. Sure, we could have won more trophies, but I do think at the end of the day, we can be proud that Liverpool didn't just go and put us to the sword like they can do at any time. So I'm not too upset. I am upset that we didn't get the trophy, but I'm disappointed, not upset.
Fair. I mean, I see what you're saying. It's just, to me, we're Chelsea Football Club. Like, yes, Liverpool are a better team than us, but the whole point is we're supposed to change that, right? So, but we're not some underdogs here. I don't see it as, we didn't lose to the second best team or best team in England, whatever they will be come Sunday. And that's enough. I'm not satisfied with drawing with them. I'm not satisfied with drawing against anybody 4 times a season. I don't care that they should be beating us. in my opinion, we should be beating them, especially because, exactly like you say, Clutch, because we can go toe-to-toe and can hold our own against anyone in a one-off game. And we had 4 chances and we didn't beat them once. Yes, we didn't lose once either in 90, but we're Chelsea fans. We're not Wigan. We're not, I don't know, Everton. I expect to win. And I know that's harsh on expectation and sport fan. I get that. But that's the expectation we must have. And when Tuchel said in the post-match press conference today, he's like, I can't say it's a bad season. I'm like, well, while you're right, it's also like, it's all for nothing if you don't make the final step. That's how it goes. Like, Messi isn't world champion because he lost on extra time in 2014. Like, he's never going to be world champion now. Or he's never going to be 2014 world champion now because he lost that final. No one gives a shit whether it was good or maybe they could have won or deserved to win. It just doesn't. Like, you lost, and that's a bad thing. And by the way, for people saying I look jet lagged or tired or whatever else, I'm just ill. It's not the Rona, done the test, but I'm ill. I've been ill since basically my flight to London. And the longer I was there, the more ill I got. And now I'm on the way out of it again. But yeah, that's why I might look a bit spaced out today a little bit. But Pice, I mean, you were a bit certainly more on the pessimistic end, like myself, after the game. It was just, again, you didn't have time to watch Tuchel's press conference, but I'm sure you saw some of the quotes. He was again saying how he was happy with the team. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't rewatch the whole game on like TV. Because from my perspective in the stadium, when I was up at here, pretty much at the, center line, right? I mean, a bit more towards the Chelsea end, but, I had a great view of the whole pitch. And I was not happy at all with how we played and pretty much everything we did all game long. I was like, what are we doing? Other than the first 10 minutes of the second half. And just seemingly, other people must have had a different viewpoint of that. Otherwise, I couldn't. It's usually rare that I'm one of the more extreme opinions in terms of how bad or good a performance was. I'm usually more in the middle of all of that. So I feel like I might have had a different view, but Pice, how do you see it? Also compared to Clutch and compared to myself, I suppose?
Well, first off, I would say that, I mean, the first final we played against them in the Carabao Cup final, I think I came on the preview and you two were actually more confident than me. I was the pessimistic one. You was like, look, we can go up against any team in the world. I was like, personally, I think if I didn't say it on the preview, I certainly said it on Twitter. I thought we was going to get smashed quite heavily in the first final because of the way they were playing. I just, even though we was better defensively then, I was just like, I don't know, man. Liverpool are so good that I think they're going to smash us. They didn't. And I said I was proud after that game because I was. Because from my viewpoint, I was like, well, we lost on penalties. From my viewpoint then, Chelsea exceeded my expectations. Of course, we could have beat them in the first final, of course. But I thought we was going to lose, like, I don't know, 2-3, 4-0, 3-1, something like that. Beat quite convincingly. And we didn't. So from that viewpoint, I was like, you know what? I'm proud. The players, they tried it all. But in this final, after I saw it happen in the first final, knowing that we could quite comfortably match up against them, and obviously the Premier League games as well, like, I'm just, I don't know. I said this to you when you was at the game. I was like, this feels like a pre-season game.
Yeah.
It really, really did. It felt like no.
Well, it didn't quite feel like that for me, but yeah, you said
on
that.
TV, it felt like an extreme pre-season game. The atmosphere was like non-existent on TV, and also like it felt like Liverpool didn't want to. Obviously, each side had chances, but Liverpool were kind of. They knew how difficult. Like we're like the one team that they don't roll out. Like they can't roll us over and beat us. Easily. So I felt like they had respect towards us, but equally, like when we was going forward and stuff, like especially in the second half, I just felt like we just kept the ball too much. Like I don't feel like we fully believed we could win, and that's what disappointed me most. And that's where I don't get these we're proud of the players shouts, because I love Tuchel, but like for me, you can't say that you're proud. We did everything. We didn't do everything in that game.
Yeah, how he says
Like,
no regrets and everything. I'm like,
yeah,
we might have
I don't
all
know,
our
man.
energy out there, but not all of our willpower and all of.
But even like that, I don't think it was one of our most high intensity pressing games or anything like that. Like I didn't see it as a. I don't know, man. It's just a weird final. Obviously, losing on penalties sucks again. And Tuchel's right. It's in the press conference today. Look, could have been a great season. One of the best seasons if we ended up with 4 trophies, end up with 2. But like, he's right in that aspect. I'm just a bit disappointed that first off, the attackers didn't take their chances, and that goes for Liverpool as well. Because, you know, if both sides scored as well, I think it could have been even more of an open game, more like the Premier League one at Stamford Bridge, but just felt like each team was trying to, like, just a bit conservative. Both teams were, really. You know, Liverpool's chances came on mostly counter-attacks with Diaz. Our chances came on counter-attacks. It was a weird game. And next season, if we get them again, we have to take them head on. Hopefully, with more signings in the squad, we have to, you know, go for it more. Because I just don't. I didn't feel like there was a belief in that final, personally. Yeah, and that's why I'm not proud to lose to Liverpool. Definitely not. Quite the opposite, in fact.
Exactly. No, I couldn't agree more. Actually, I'm not. Like I say, I'm not 100% sure about the preseason vibe, but when you're at the FA Cup final, maybe it's difficult for it to ever feel like that. So, you know, but in general, I still agree with your point completely. Other than, like I say, the first 10 minutes of the second half, we finally came out of half time, I guess, and we were all of a sudden on it. I was like, this is what I mean. And someone that says now, you know, someone said it here, only the first 20 minutes Liverpool were better. Again, what are the expectations? My expectations are to be the better team. We were the better team against Liverpool in pretty much every game, other than the second half at Anfield, because we were a man down. Overall, obviously, both teams always had spells. But I would say overall, in the other two games this season, we were a better team. And on Saturday, other than 10 minutes at after halftime, we were never the better team. I don't know what you guys' expectations are, but to me, that's not good enough. Like, this is a final. We are we used to be the team for finals. We weren't always the best team. You know, Didier Drogba quite literally stands for that. He might not be the best ever striker, but he's definitely one of the most clutch strikers that has ever been there. And that kind of portrayed him as our striker, kind of portrayed itself into our football club. We might not have always been the best team, but just look at 2012, how we all of a sudden won the Champions League and the FA Cup. We were an awful team that season, if we're honest with ourselves. And all of a sudden, we're in a position where we just lose finals and it happens. And no, that's how you become Arsenal. This is unacceptable. We cannot just, I'm not saying you can't lose finals, but I'm saying you can't just accept that you're losing finals and tell yourself it's okay. No, it's not okay, because that's how it becomes okay. And that's how the mentality is there, and you're scared to risk it. And you need to risk it in finals against teams that are that good. And yeah, Pulisic missed chances, and Lukaku missed chances, and Alonso missed chances. But so did Liverpool. Liverpool missed more chances than we missed. So that's why I personally even disagree with the idea that the defenders were so great. They weren't. Liverpool could have easily scored 4 goals. That's not a good defensive performance. And had they taken their chances, everyone would have stated the defenders. But because they missed them, everyone praised them. There was nothing to praise them for. They were not as bad as other players, but they weren't good by any means, or they weren't great by any means. It's I don't know. I keep saying this, like Pius explained it well, in terms of just scared or not convinced or not believing in ourselves that we could pull it off. Like, always too slow when we did get the ball, and when we tried to attack a bit quicker, the precision in the passing was so poor. The way we moved around the pitch early on, we couldn't handle the one through ball between Reece James and Chilwell. Then Reece James basically played right back in the back 5 because he had to stay so deep to stop Luis Diaz from hurting us that way. Then we finally figured out if Reece James just attacks really high, Luis Diaz has to track deeper, and then he's too deep to play through balls, and that's how we all in the end stopped it. But it took us way too long to stop that, and it took us so long that we couldn't do anything outside of it. And then, because obviously they had a day more rest than we did, by the time we figured it out, we were gassed out and they could still keep going. And that's, in my opinion, why we never got a late second wind or anything going. And could we have had a penalty for Ziyech? I don't know, Clutch. What do you think? Do you think that was a pen?
No, I think if you would have given him the pen, it would have been a very harsh pen on Liverpool. As much as I hate to say that, he barely tapped him. Ziyech went over. I mean, for me, I think those are the kind of things, like, would I have been mad if they would have gotten called for it? Yes, I would have been very mad. So I think that's where I sit on those. Like, when I look at a penalty, I'm like, would I be mad if they called that for us or called that against us? Now, if I would have got called against us for that, I would have been very upset. So I think, for me, that wasn't a penalty.
Yeah, it was a weird, obviously, again, I was in the stadium, and obviously I saw replays of it after, but that's then after the fact, so it's a bit different. To be honest, at the time, I wasn't even sure whether Ziyech was onside, so that's why I didn't take it too seriously during the game, because it was like, maybe he was offside. That's why they never looked at it, but it looked strange. I fell over. Do you reckon it should have been a pen or not another one of those final ones where they get screwed by the ref?
Yeah, I mean, no, it wasn't like something that I was screaming and shouting about. I was like, are they going to look at it? But they didn't. So, I mean, it was all very over very quickly. And I think, I don't know, might have to watch it, but it doesn't matter now. We was clutching at straws at the times. I think, obviously, you're gonna want anything in the final. So, yeah, I think that's why a lot of people were saying, maybe it should have been a penalty. But was it not outside the box as well? I heard someone say that. I'm not sure if that was true.
I'm not sure if that was true.
He was from outside the box. He was just outside.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you
well,
can't.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go then. Well, now, in the end, Pies mentioned it again, like Tuchel said, it's like, yeah, it could have been a very good season if we had won 4 trophies, even if, I mean, I know we won the Club World Cup and the Super Cup this year, but, excuse me, they do still kind of count the last season in a way, to me. I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but yeah, it's not been it. It's not really been it. I mean, if we win the remaining 2 Premier League games that we still have, according to someone on Twitter, I haven't fact-checked it, but we could finish the season on 76 points, and that would be our highest points finish since we actually won the league under Antonio Conte in 16-17. So it would at least show some sort of progression, which would be quite nice. But at the end of the day, there's nothing to play for in the last 2 games, is there? We'll get to transfer news as well in a second, but just want to almost lead this FA Cup final hangover into what even now for the next 2 games, essentially. Because, like, is it worth playing all these players now? I mean, Tuchel was very adamant that the likes of Rudiger will keep playing, but is it worth it? Do the Rudigers, I mean, Werner's injured anyway, but do these kinds of players, do they need to keep playing? I mean, Christensen probably can't anyway. We'll get to that as well a little bit later on. But what about these 2 games now? Honestly, like I say, if we win both, we can have those 76 points, which would be higher than any league tally we've had since we won the league. But do I feel like we're going to get those? No chance. Like, it would seem so difficult for the players to motivate themselves for this one now, because just as defined, we've got 2 games to go with nothing to play for, so it's a tough one. But so, what do you think? Do you think they get their motivation back up or not?
It's a tough one. I mean, when we lost to Leicester in the final, right? Last year, we played them straight after, right, in the Premier League. That was the FA Cup. We've just lost in the FA Cup final again, and we're playing Leicester after. It's a bit hashtag scripted. No, I'm joking, but no, I think the players will try. I don't think motivation will be a huge issue. I feel like they might almost kind of take their frustration out on Leicester. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. But the fact that we have secured top 4 is almost like you could see it as a fact of maybe they will bottle these last 2 games. I don't know. Like it's, but for me, you still have to be professional. You want to finish third. You don't like. We don't like Tottenham. The players know the fans don't like Tottenham, so don't let them finish above us, please. Like even if in the grand context of things, it doesn't make a difference. It does to fans. Like fans don't want Tottenham to finish. Conte to finish over Tuchel. Tottenham to finish over Chelsea. So just be professional. Get the job done. I don't see us losing to Watford. I think tomorrow is the only slip up that could happen. Watford are awful. And I mean, so were Everton and stuff like that, and we still somehow lost. But I mean, who knows? Yeah, Leicester are a good team. They've got players to threaten us. Vardy, Maddison, Daka, Lookman. They've got good play. Really, really good squad. I just think
Ashley Barnes as well. Not Ashley Barnes.
Harvey.
Barnes. That's it.
Harvey Barnes. That's it. Yeah, no, they've got a good squad, good defenders and stuff. Brendan Rodgers is decent, but I feel like we've got quite a good record against Leicester in the league overall. So we'll see. I mean, to be honest with you, like Stamford Bridge has been horrible to go to this year. Horrible to play at.
Especially now the last few weeks where it wasn't full because of the sanctions.
It's just been a cursed ground for us. We just don't do well there. It's weird. So yeah, we'll see.
There you go, Clutch. What about you? Now we're over the cup final. The season's kind of dead because we've got top 4, which is the very minimum target we had. Of course, we wanted to win the Super Cup and the Club World Cup, and we did that. But especially the Club World Cup is kind of an expectation. Like I know we all were happy because it was a trophy we hadn't won, but it would have just been an embarrassment had we not. Like we should be beating these teams, right? It's like if someone, obviously it's a harsh comparison, but It's like if someone put us in the championship and be like, oh, come on, we won the championship. Well, obviously. Do you know what I mean? Without a team. Obviously, they're a better team, Palmeiras, than the championship, but you get what I'm trying to get at. So now with 2 games left, do you see motivation being a problem? Are you yourself motivated? Because I'm struggling for it, if I'm honest. Might be because I'm ill, but
I mean, I'm motivated. We got 2 more games, and then we don't have Chelsea for, what, a month and a half? At least for me, because it'll be here in America for 3 preseason games, so I at least get to see a little bit of it. But for me...
I'm sure there's a broadcast preseason.
Well, probably. There'll probably be one. But, yeah, I think my motivation is to get the last 2 games out that way before the long break that happens and we have to start doing transfer market news. But, I think this will show what kind of character a lot of our players have. If they don't show up, then at this point, you're playing for the pride of the club. You're playing for the pride of yourself. So if you just kind of come in and take it bleh because you don't really have anything to play for, and then we kind of get your understanding. So, I mean, maybe players like Rudiger, I don't think he's that kind of guy. I know Christensen seems to be that kind of guy. Would Alonso be that guy? I don't know. I mean, hopefully they play for just the sake of it to be for the club, but who knows? I don't think it'll be a problem, but I've been shocked by things before in this club.
I do agree. I mean, I'll get to in more detail whether we think or which one of those guys that you just mentioned we think should be playing or should not be playing. We'll get to that later. But you brought it up there. We've got all transfer news coming up in the summer anyway. But there is actually a bit of transfer news to cover right now because Goal.com, through Nizar Kinsella, has come out with the fact, or with the report, that Chelsea have agreed all sorts of personal terms with Jules Kounde. It's just about agreeing things with Sevilla, and apparently 70 million euros might be the number we're talking. And apparently everyone wants to get the deal done quickly as well. I even read before the end of June, because obviously Sevilla want a replacement and also they need to balance their books and everything. So with that said, let me take it back to you, Pice. Now, first of all, do you think the report is good enough to believe that is the case the way they're saying it? And the second report, I will say, especially, again, we'll get to Christensen in more detail in a minute. I like Kounde. I want a Kounde. But the fact that we are not extending contracts with Rudiger's and Christensen's because we didn't want to pay a bit more sign-on or agent fees or pay out agent fees quicker, but instead are now happy to sign 70 million euro players, it's like, where's that logic? I still want Kounde, and I wanted Kounde regardless of whether Rudiger or Christensen will be staying. I just don't get. I'm penny bitching over 10, 20 million euros in sign-on fee. And do I agree that they should have had it? Probably not. But you can only make that risk if you're not in the last year of the contract. If we're in these negotiations and now come the summer, they have 1 year left and we can sell them because they're like, okay, we don't think that's worth it. Then fair enough. But now that they're leaving for free, that surely that's even less worth it. But don't focus too much on the contract stuff. It's more about Kounde.
No, it is weird. I have to say, the Rudiger one, I still think the board or people upstairs still have some. I mean, first off, let's say we did offer him a big contract. It was £230,000 a week. It's just obviously you were talking about sign-on fee and all that. I still think the board have some. What's the word? There was a report ages ago that basically, obviously, Marina, who's currently in charge, values attackers more than defenders, and that basically Rudiger in the thought at the back, at least, was like, how am I trying to say it? There was a perception that obviously his free at the back form wasn't like the full picture, essentially. So Chelsea were unsure about paying this big fee. It was a report ages ago, like when we first started talking to Rudiger about the contract. I remember it very well, and I maybe wonder if that's playing on the minds of Marina or whoever else is. Well, Marina, yeah, because she's the one who had been negotiating. And with Christensen, like, I don't know, it's a difficult one. The report that Simon Johnson said was that we offered him 140,000 and he wanted some sort of sign-on fee, but Chelsea were like, well, we're giving you a pay increase anyway of, however much they increase. So we kind of
wasn't even that much. So I did find that weird.
Yeah, it wasn't even that much. But I think the thing that I found funny was Chelsea wanted to pay his dad at the time, who was his agent, since change. He changed agency to actually to get the move, but his dad was actually trying to negotiate the new contract with Chelsea. So his dad wanted to be paid over 2 years agent's fee. So agent fee paid over 2 years. Chelsea said no, we'll pay it over 4 years. So first off, what was the agent fee? And second off, why did we want to pay it over 4 instead of 2?
Well, I
Like, I
presume
just don't
that
get that.
if he say leaves after 2 or 3 years, they don't have to pay the rest of it out anymore, and only if he does
Yeah,
stay
I
the whole
suppose,
4
yeah.
years. That's
Yeah, I
probably,
just
but that's
I
only
don't
me
know.
assuming. Though.
There was a lot of like just a lot of details, and there's so much stuff that's gone, behind the scene. With Christensen, I mean, he kept saying the club were angry anyway because they had a contract agreed. Never, ever since he didn't, went back on his word and all that, things changed. It was like supposedly the start of the downfall anyway. So I think when that report came down, that he'd agreed and then it would come back, I think that was the end of it anyway. I don't think there was any comeback. I think a lot of us were like, well, they had something agreed. Maybe they'll be able to get another thing agreed. But it seems like that was the end when that happened. Like Chelsea were pissed off. So I don't know. I can understand both parties. I think with Kounde, he's a long-term club target. The report again said he's agreed personal terms again for this summer. That's all been sorted. Sevilla need the money by June 30th. Sevilla have told Chelsea to get it done as soon as possible. They want a replacement. I think it's going to be well. They mentioned the price of 59 million, but again, I think
In
that can be
pounds or
negotiated
euros?
in pounds. I think that can be negotiated down because I think first off, add-ons are always nearly almost included in every single big deal. Two, they need money quick. So I mean, maybe there's something to do there. And three, obviously, Marina
Yeah, it
has,
might be 40
you know,
up front or 50 up front, and
yeah,
then
exactly, and
kind of
like a
thing.
small amount of add-ons. So I wouldn't look too much on a fixed price. I think it will get done. And look, I mean, we've had Kounde news for months. If it doesn't happen in the first like 2 weeks of us being unsanctioned, there's something seriously wrong. Unless these reporters are getting mixed up, like they're literally saying we're going for it as soon as the sanction ends. Well, okay, we'll see then, because you know what I think about our transfers and stuff. So I think we take too long on them. So let's see if we can get this one quickly over the line and get at least one replacement defender in. And yeah, we talked about it the other day. Right back, centre back, whatever. Like it's a good versatile option. Very very young, and I think all fans want him.
There you go, 100%. I mean, obviously, because we're losing Rudiger as well, some more experience at the back might also be quite good. But we still want Kounde because, number one, we also need to replace Christensen and also backup right backs, especially if Aspie leaves. We need that anyway, whether it's Koulibaly or some other centre backs that we're looking at as the second additional centre back in the summer. That's a different discussion. But for the time being, the report is that we've agreed personal terms with Jules Kounde. Klaus, from your perspective, good decision or good to see that we're so far advanced? Obviously, there's still all sorts of stepping stones that could hinder things, could delay things, whatever else. But it's still good to hear at least that we're almost, getting ready in the blocks. When they're like doing a sprint race and they're, getting ready and feet in the little things when they put their feet in already. I don't know that word in English. I do apologize. We seem to like ready to go. Like Pi said, who knows when it turns out to be that way. But that's what it looks like. And that's the part that I find almost most encouraging about that report today.
Yeah, and I think one of the main things is this is a player we've been scouting for a couple of years now that we've been trying to get over the line. And I know Sevilla moved the goalpost last season, and we probably would have got him last year for a little bit cheaper, but then Sevilla decided they were going to raise the price on it. But yeah, I mean, Kounde's a very good player, versatile, can play right back, can play center back. So I get where fans have that like almost hesitancy with his height, but I think he's very athletic. I think he's the kind of player that if height wouldn't be an issue for that kind of player, So I think we should be a little bit more calm about that. But for me, it was always going to happen. Good signing. It's a way to start things off, and then we just got to see where we go from there. Whether it be like a Koulibaly or whatever. I think Koulibaly makes sense, but it's kind of scary that he's been playing in the Italian league for so long, and you're going to come at the age of 31 here. Maybe you're like Thiago Silva and you can keep it up, but I don't know. But his experience is something I think we desperately need, as well as some other key pieces that we're looking into.
Your mic is muted.
Thank you. I keep forgetting this. Why can I not remember this? Well, I was saying, does Koulibaly speak a single word of English? Probably not. I know Thiago Silva did neither, but then we had other experienced centre backs who did. Now he wouldn't. Thiago Silva still kind of doesn't. So I don't know, but that's a debate for a different day. I would say the whole Kounde with the height thing. If we were to change to a back four and we played a back four against Burnley, I'd be intrigued how that goes. But against most other teams, I don't think it should be all that much of an issue. But it depends on who plays in the rest of the team. If we have a midfield two of Jorginho and Kante, rather than having one tall central midfielder, whether that's a Rice to Tchouameni or, I don't know, Loftus-Cheek just because he's tall, whoever in midfield, then we might have a bit of a disadvantage at set pieces, potentially. But he is a good jumper, so I hope he can make up for that.
He's actually scored quite a few headers as well for Sevilla.
But scoring and defending is very different, though, because then
No, I know,
you
but
could
like,
have
I just
great
think,
timing at attacking them. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I'm not saying you're making a big deal out of it, but like Clutch said, I mean, they have, I've seen people say, oh, he's too small. Name me small defenders that have succeeded in the Premier League. I'm like, bar 2 or 3 teams, like most teams don't have tall strikers or tall,
No,
like
they don't anymore.
it's not like, I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a myth. It used to be a
only
thing.
It's more
2
when you're
inches.
up against their centre backs at set pieces, I think, where it's an issue.
Yeah. But then even then, it's about anticipation, timing. Who do
I
you
guess,
mark?
Haaland
Like,
is 6'4", but
yeah, but it's
Silva's
like
6
you
foot.
against
wouldn't,
Haaland, you need more pace anyway. So if
But-
anything,
but-
it's better that you're short
and you wouldn't
quick.
put Kounde on Haaland from a set piece anyway. You'd
No.
have a taller player mark him. So it's like I don't really get that argument.
But see, if you're centre back 2 in a back 4 where Thiago Silva and Kounde, well then who? Because I know obviously Lukaku, for example, is tall if he started, but he's not a defender, right? So that's why the striker usually goes to the front post clearance header rather than being in the duel with one of the defenders. But hey, that's something we need to worry about when we get there. How often is it likely that we're going to have a back 4 of centre backs only Thiago Silva and Kounde? Maybe that won't happen that often anyway. But hey, we'll have to wait and see. Now, let's take it back to Andreas Christensen. We touched on him a couple of times already earlier, but yeah, so on the cup final, Saturday, Thomas Tuchel explained it in quite a bit of detail, actually, in today's press conference. Christensen came to him in the morning, on Saturday, on the morning of the final, and said, yeah, I can't play. I'm not ready to play, and I'm also not ready to be on the bench. Tuchel has kind of clarified that it's a similar situation to what's been happening a number of times over the last few weeks, where all of a sudden Christensen wasn't in the squad, and all of a sudden, we hear the day after Chalobah was not supposed to start, but Christensen was, or Aston was not supposed to start, but Christensen was, and then put whatever out. It's a weird one because the extra weird thing about it is, well, number one, Tuchel has obviously explained it's not that he didn't want to play. He believes that he wanted to play, but he's not able to play. He could not play. But the weird thing is it's not a constant where, like, you could say, since he's decided to go to Barcelona, he doesn't give a shit. Because otherwise, he missed games, 2 months ago, then played some. Then missed some, then played some, and now he's missing some. If it was just, I can't be bothered anymore, then why would he go so up and down, and why wouldn't he consistently not play? It would either be consistently play or consistently not play. If it isn't something weird going on, we don't know what it is. We will speculate slightly, but don't take any of what we speculate for as that's the fact. We don't know what the situation is. Might it have to do with some sort of anxiety, panic attack? Could probably. Because judging from what Maurizio Sarri said about him back in 2018, and then he say himself about him once, that he always feels a bit sick and nauseous before games. Maybe it's that, and those things can get worse. Sarri said that in 2018. Things could be different now. Who knows? Nobody's mental health is always the same, but it could also be something completely not mental health related. It could be. We just don't know for a fact. And what I don't like is that people just jump to the conclusion he doesn't care, doesn't want to play. F him. I'm like, that could be the option, but we don't. Or that could be the scenario, but we don't know that. So why would I jump on the back of? Why I don't understand when people jump on the back of players so easily. And I know I do it sometimes, but I do it for performances and not outside things. Or I try to anyway. Yeah, I'm sure all of us have players that we like more, will defend more than players that we don't like as much. That's natural. I understand. But still, is he leaving? And that's the confusing part. With everything like this going on, if you're Barcelona, surely you would leave your fingers so far away from that, unless there's something signed already. I don't understand with these issues. And obviously, we don't know the issues, so maybe those issues are not expected to be an issue anymore come next season. Then fair enough. But if this is an anxiety issue, a mental health issue, I hope for him that it gets better, but I don't understand why any other club would sign him. But Clutch, what's your perspective on the whole thing?
I'm stuck in between two minds because obviously, as somebody who like suffers from mental health issues, I can understand that point of view. Like if you're struggling that bad, and those are the kind of situations that you find yourself in where like anxiety happens, and like I have anxiety attacks. I know that it's almost impossible to get over. But I think from like the club's perspective, why have we not like hired somebody who can like talk to him?
And also,
Maybe
if it is anxiety, that's not something to be ashamed about. So if it's that, why
Sorry,
don't they
I
just
just
say that
can't.
publicly?
By the way, can I just intervene? Like, I've had anxiety issues as well. Like, thinking back to Christensen, you would have the ultimate factual anxiety attack coming on or being told to come on in the Champions League final. And he was perfectly fine. So is it like, can it be anxiety? Like, I don't know. Like,
No, because it can be,
it,
because that's a year ago. He might have just been in a different state of mind where he wouldn't have been as susceptible to
but
it as now. For whatever behind the scenes reason, I don't know.
we also don't know
I
what
don't know.
triggers the anxiety attack. Maybe it's not football that triggers him. Maybe it's something else, and that sets him off.
His
Who knows?
wife is pregnant and close to having a child, but again, he was also missed games 3 months ago for that reason. And Sarri was talking about it back in 2018. So probably nothing to do with that, but
I mean, it's strange. I think I can't. One reporter said that it was because he told him he wasn't ready to play or something. But
yeah.
why?
And then,
Like,
like I say,
it's
Tuchel
just
clarified it was a case that he couldn't play. It wasn't that he didn't want to
couldn't
play.
play.
Tuchel made that clear, not just once, but on a couple of occasions. Pice only got in just before we started streaming, so he didn't quite have time to actually watch the press conference. I only saw quotes. I told him to watch it, but genuinely, even after, watch it, because I think it gives you a different perspective of the seriousness of the situation when you hear Tuchel speak about it than just reading it. At least that's what happened to me, because I was kind of a bit in your camp because I didn't watch the press conference live. I watched it like an hour and a half later. And when I only saw the quotes, I was like, meh.
I don't know though,
Over-dramatizing
because like,
things again.
how
But
do
when I
you
watched
judge?
it, I was like,
How do you judge
Like,
Tuchel's language though? Because couldn't play. I mean, yeah, well, you couldn't play because of anxiety
because
attack or
maybe
whatever.
it's
Like,
because I also speak German, so I maybe understand his not perfect English more. I don't know.
couldn't play could be something like really serious, as like I don't know, a family member dying or I don't
Yeah.
know, something like that. But
But again, he
like,
also made it clear that the same thing has happened multiple times in the
yeah,
past when
which
he
then
missed games.
leads me to more towards like I don't know, the anxiety, the stomach cramp, that sort of thing. Because
Yeah.
like I don't know, if it was a one-off thing and he couldn't play, then obviously it's family or something.
Yeah.
But if it's happened more than one occasion, then that leads me to what's already been reported of what Sarri said, like he gets stomach cramps, whatever, before games. But then I don't get how, if that is the issue, like a Champions League final is much bigger than any other final you can play in, and I don't know. It's weird. It's weird
I
for
don't
me to
think
get
it's
my
the
head
size
around,
of the
man.
game because he missed Brentford. I don't think it has anything to do with the size of the game. I don't think that's the part that's relevant.
Because
It's
you never know
very
what's going to
difficult to
trigger
make
you.
around.
You don't have a clue. Like maybe I mean at that point he was in good form, so it's not like he wasn't feeling more positive about like how he was playing, where he was playing, and now that everything's gone, he's not playing so regularly, he's not really the main
Maybe
guy
the
to
fact
turn
that
to.
he's leaving has given him anxiety because I don't know. Maybe he struggles with going to move to another club or whatever. If he's struggling with anxiety, going to a different club is probably very stressful experience.
Yeah, and
Maybe
I
it's that.
think
Who knows? It could be anything. Like I say, it might not even be anxiety for all we know.
like there's only a couple things that kind of put me off. Like I know they kept consisting or being persistent on the questions with Christensen, and at one point Tuchel was talking about how like I can't take it personally or something like that from what he said to him, which that's like the only quote that kind of gets me to be like, okay, so what was said? But I mean, you can kind
I
of
think. Don't
see.
you think he just meant the fact that he told him so late that he can't play? He doesn't take it personally, as in he's trying to screw with us, rather than. I don't think he said anything itself that could be taken personally. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, at this point I say like it's probably best for you to go. Um because I don't want to be too harsh on him. I know he's had like this mentality problem within for a while, but whether that's his fault, whether that's mental health issues, I'm not here to judge. Because I mean, there was one time, remember, he used to fall over and then just stay down and cost his goals before. Those are the kind of situations where it's like, but then he seemed like he got over it. He got back up after he knocked out, or like it didn't fake an injury to stop the time or to relieve blame. So I don't necessarily judge him. I just think it's time for him to move on because clearly something's not happening here. Maybe a change of scenery helps you personally, mentally, whatever it is.
Maybe it's a tough one. It's a shame as well. Like because we don't know what it is. If it is not ideal what's happening, and I don't rate it, if I feel like he's kind of letting the club down a little bit, then I would say different things. But I don't know whether that's the case. So then it's just a shame. Like we bought the guy 16 from Denmark, or was he 15? Like he's been here 10 years now. And in terms of talent, he hasn't progressed that much in the last few years. But the talent that guy had there was not many centre backs that had the things he could do at that age, because a lot of them are physically, brilliant, like or super quick or super strong or super tall or some. But he had that. He almost could read the game, like he had that talent to read the game. Yeah, he didn't quite have the physique for it yet, but he was always going to grow into that as he got older, and then paired with having the talent to just read the game well, I always thought he would be phenomenal. Now, mentality is going to stop you from also becoming phenomenal. So if you're struggling with releasing yourself, and to be honest, that's kind of the situation with Ruben. I'm not sure if I want to get into that today, but maybe if we have time, I might even touch that when we talk about it, whether he starts or not. But if those things are the issue, I obviously it hinders you at getting the best out of yourself as well. But it's a shame with the talent that he has. It's a shame the way things have ended. That he's going to be leaving on a free, that he's going to be leaving in a situation where, well, we have to pull out of the FA Cup final on the morning of the game and probably won't play again for this club after 10 years. It's a shame. It's a shame. Either of you want to add anything to that, or shall we move on?
You can move on, at least from my part.
There you go. Take that as we move on. All right. I'll ask you one other thing, guys. Is there much else that we need to discuss in terms of news? Now, obviously, we missed a reasonably big one when all the big media outlets tried to scare Chelsea fans again. Whether it was a purpose, full decision by them, or whether that was kind of the government doing things, who knows? But I was like, oh, everything could break down. It could be in the mud. Everything could be awful. It took Ben Jacobs, still shout out to your podcast with him for that. Also shout out to Charlie for having him on the other day. He was very quick to everything's fine. They say everything's fine. Everything's going to be fine. But that drama, but maybe first of all, elaborate that a little bit more. And is there anything else, big news that we should be discussing?
Yeah, so there was 3 different sources. I mean, the Telegraph, but it wasn't Matt Law, it was one of his colleagues. The Times, and also one other person, I think, maybe. Oh, the BBC. Yeah, they all. It kind of seemed like a briefing to me, but essentially the government said, look, this is gonna. They don't think it's gonna hit the deadline. We want to put the money into a frozen account. Chelsea, I think Chelsea and Abramovich insisted that they needed to pay it from Fordham to something called Camberley. Then the government were like, no, it can't go to Camberley because it's essentially set up by Abramovich's kids. So then it has Abramovich ties. And it was all a bit of a mess. Go and read the articles if you really want to. But I mean, that's not even the latest. I mean, just about an hour ago, Nizar said that it's expected to go through despite late fears. Could be completed this week, early next week. Premier League are happy. There's supposedly been I don't know, was it settlement or something? There's common ground or whatever. So I don't know. The whole Bowley situation at the moment for me is a lot of stuff that it's a lot of language which I just don't really understand. It's a lot of transactions and money. Where's what going? I just don't care. I want it done. And when it's done, I'll be happy to talk about it. To be honest, I'm so fed up with it all. I just want it to go through. And yeah, in terms of transfers, trying to think. Yeah, Nizar's article.
I guess there is also what Tuchel said. We could also, I guess, touch on that, what Tuchel said in press conference about transfers, with the fact that he said we're not really going out there to improve the squad. We're going out there to rebuild the squad because that's what we have to do, because a lot of
Yeah,
players will be
I don't
leaving.
really get that, by the way. I mean, you can still improve the squad while you're rebuilding. Another
Yeah,
weird
yeah, yeah.
quote.
But like again, and that's another thing where the quotes made him sound worse than he was. Again, he didn't say it sound anywhere near as negative
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it as the quotes made him sound. He was like, oh, because the way he meant that improving is we're not adding to our squad, we're replacing players. Obviously, we will try to make these players better than the ones we had, which then would improve us, like you say. But we're not adding to an already existing squad. I think that's kind of what he was getting at.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely watch it back. I think Nazar kind of went over targets that we already know. He said that for the other centre back, we've looked at Kimpembe, who worked with Tuchel, Gvardiol, who we knew about, Jose Gimenez, who was a target under Lampard, and then he mentioned that Gallagher would be coming back. Tuchel in the press conference said he would assess him and Broja. And for midfield, obviously Raj many we know. They said looked at Cucurella. And also there was Sosa links come out yesterday. I think who said it? Can't remember now. Christian Falk said it, and then
Oh, yeah.
Adam Newson like quoted his thing and said, "Yeah, well, I reported this in February too." So Sosa's another one to keep an eye out on. Left wing back, young, cheap. Although I don't know if he'll be so cheap now because Stuttgart avoided relegation and he was going to go for
Yeah.
very cheap, but they stayed up. So keep an eye on that. And lastly, I mean, Christian Falk said again about Dembele, kind of what we already know. They appreciate each other too with Dembele. Chelsea still have him on the list. Dembele is
And
demanding
also, isn't it
40
reported that Rafinha has agreed to join Barcelona? Doesn't
on
that make
personal
Dembele leaving more likely?
personal terms. Yeah, I think I've been reading a lot of Barca sources lately, and they seem to be,
They
planning a
agree
lot.
deals with everyone.
Yeah, they seem to be planning a lot, but they've also got financial troubles, which is why obviously the De Jong to Man United links have come up saying, if
Apparently
they
now to
sell,
City as well, I've seen him linked.
yeah, so if they sell De Jong, obviously they can get a few players in, but I don't know, we'll see. That's why, like, even with Aspi, I mean, Aspi probably will go, but this whole Alonso to Barca, I'm like, this motherfucker survives every season. I'm like, I swear to God, like, if Barca, like, I don't know, I'm always cautious on Barca, basically. I feel like they put a lot out there and don't do a lot, kind of like us, but we'll see.
But also, I don't understand what they have Jordi Alba. Like, he's getting on, but I mean, he scored a screamer of a volley the other week. Like, if they got Alonso, he wouldn't play. So what are they just buying into
Yeah,
the
it's
They won-
Spanish teams, bro. Alonso, they love players like
They-
Alonso.
Yeah,
It's
but
weird.
Jordi Alba, like, he's probably like their most consistent player all season.
Yeah. I mean, Nathan Gibson said that he's going to be a backup to Alba, supposedly. I mean, fair enough, but I don't care as long
That's
as
what Alonso's
he goes.
into. Off you go, bro.
Yeah,
No complaints from my.
as long as he fucks off somewhere, I'm good.
Exactly. I mean, Alonso swap for Dest, maybe. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Dest, but the fact that he can play on both sides, and as long as he's always coming in to be a backup, I'm happy with that. Then I
I
think
think he's
he's good enough.
obsessed with staying, though, right? I keep seeing that, Barca, he's staying. So, I don't know, he
Could
seemingly
be.
loves that place, even though he doesn't play, which is weird.
Pretty sure Xavi just confirmed like a couple days ago that he wants him to stay next year.
It's going to be a long
Xavi
one.
might
when
want a
opens.
lot of things. Yeah, I mean, if Barcelona have money problems, they need to get it somewhere. So if we are interested in him, I doubt they're going to say no, but we'll see. Obviously, he might say no. But Clutch, what's your perspective on all of that little bit of drama that we had for that one afternoon, where it's like, oh, everything's in the mud, but also like what Pies obviously spoke about in terms of transfer news.
At this point, I'm just numb to it because, I mean, how many times have somebody come out and said, oh, yeah, there's a problem. Ratcliffe might come in. We always have these little conversations happening in the background.
Ratcliffe? Good times.
There's always somebody who's willing to, like, oh, the deal could fall apart here or there. Everything seems to be going well. Everybody's confirmed it. We're just in the latter stages. We're waiting for the dotted line to be signed by Boley and then us to get started. So I was never really bothered by it per se. I think it's always so silly that we have these stupid little articles come out about it. So for me, I think we should just focus on who we want to go for in the transfer market. Whether it be a Dembele, like I think Dembele is a fantastic player. If we can get him for a reasonable price, even though today I heard an outrageous number.
He would be free, wouldn't he? Because his contract runs out.
Yeah, his contract runs out, but I think the reports are he's asking for a very big wage. So
40 at Barca, he's asking for 43 million euro. I think, but that's over a certain number of seasons, which someone worked out to be about 200,000 a week, something like that. I mean,
I
Well,
saw
hopefully,
300.
though, if that's true. But part of it is probably a huge sign-on fee, which is part of that 43 million.
yeah.
And yeah, so like, who knows?
I mean, free agent big players. Everyone's like, oh, they're coming for free. Well, they're not, because there's going to be stuff in there. Like you're going to have to pay.
Yeah, but
Just
like it's
fucking,
also
his
fitting
agent's
to.
a nightmare, bro.
That's the whole point, right? As a player, if you leave as a free agent, you do that to get the biggest benefit for you, and nothing
I
wrong
only
with
want
that.
him
Hey,
because it's Tuchel, bro.
their
That's the
careers are
only-
short. Their careers are short, so you got to make all the bread you can make. I'm not. I have no problem. Like, do you know what I mean? As much as I criticize Chelsea for giving Timo Werner £275 a week, £275,000 a week, mind you.
I wish he was on that.
Yeah, but for Werner, I'm like, bro, you go. If someone offered that to me, I'd say yes. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to turn it down, am I? Bucklatch, did you have anything else you wanted to add after Dembele there?
Well, yeah, like a Dembele, but I also think like a Chouameni or a Rice is needed. I was talking to people about Sosi yesterday. He seems like a very good option if we can get him for like 20 to 30 mil, which I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of question marks. Like Dembele, I think he's a good player, but there are also the question marks that come with him. Another injury-prone winger, off the field problems he's had, but maybe he can sort that all out. Who knows? It's just, I think there's a lot of question marks, but I'm just ready to get the transfer market started. If he comes, fantastic. He will be an improvement to the squad.
There you go. Pice, you unmute yourself. Were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, like, on the whole transfer thing, like, with attackers, I mean, Nazar said, like, obviously, for attackers, players need to go. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why I think we didn't get him in January, because, like, we could have paid, like, a small sum for him, but we had so many wingers. So, like, as everyone was saying back then, like,
and now they're all injured, basically.
yeah, but, like, back then, it was, like, reported, oh, like, Chelsea don't see sense in getting Dembele now and have, like, Ziyech, Pulisic, Hudson Odoi, Werner, you know, Mount Havertz, like, but I don't know. I just think player sales is always key. Getting people out the door that need to be removed is the most important of anything in the transfer window, and that's something that we just don't do very well. So I'm hoping this summer.
Well, when we do it, we do it well, but often we don't do it because we want to do it too well.
And obviously, yeah, like that's obviously, like, when I talk about Marina, like, I hope that she just doesn't ask for some fucking stupid prices again for dead wood. Like, just get them gone. If someone shows an interest, like, fucking treat it like it's your birthday. You know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous, because that way, then we can actually sign players. Like, you have to replace them, but oh no, everyone's all these dead wood end up staying season after season. So that's why I'm hoping both Aspi and Alonso go. Because they, like, if we want to compete with Man City and Liverpool, they have to go. I love Aspi. You know, Alonso's been a good servant, but they have to go. Time's up. Go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I assure you, one of them will end up staying. I'll be shocked if one of them don't stay. It's just typical Chelsea.
It better be Aspi if it's one of the two, because he's the one that, you know, just extended the contract. Like, obviously auto-extended, but still. Do you know what I mean? And he's way older. Well, is he older? He's just 1 or 2 years old, isn't he, actually? And I think about it. But hey, before we get into Leicester, a couple of last things that we should mention, unless either of you had anything else you wanted to add about transfers, but we're already nearly an hour. But injury news. Yeah, we're basically screwed again. So Havertz is a doubt, but he is back in training. Timo Werner is out with a hamstring injury. Callum Hudson-Odoi is out and will not feature in the rest of the last 2 games. He will even come back to preseason early, like Ben Chilwell will. Thomas Tuchel, like, explained away, like, from one day to another, he just dropped out of the squad with some injury and just hasn't been able to be back since. It's crazy. I swear, 2 weeks ago, there was pictures of him back in training. I'm not sure if he's been consistently in training since then, because Thomas Tuchel today said he's in individual training, not with the team. So maybe he just did a part of the session with the team, and that's why he was photographed with the team, and it made us all think he's back in training. Who knows? But Ben Chilwell has returned to training. Of course, he's not going to feature at all, but he's back in team training, which hopefully gives us a bit of a boost. But yeah, Kovacic is obviously a doubt with his ankle issue. I'm not sure if Kante is going to be playing again after obviously him essentially coming back too early after injury for the last game. So there we don't know. Who else? Is anybody else missing? But Thiago Silva, I don't know if he's a doubt. Thomas Tuchel didn't mention him, but I don't know. But certainly injury concerns left, right, and centre. So And the next one is obviously we played 120 minutes in the last game. Of course, it's Saturday until Thursday, so everyone should be fully rested. But it's just injuries after injuries, isn't it, Clutch?
Yeah, it's the end of the season. Bodies are broken. Everything's going right side up on us. But, I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, we've had injury concerns all year, and we're one of the 2 teams that haven't had a game called off for COVID or anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's been a long season. Injuries were bound to happen. Just unfortunately, bodies go out when you play so many games in such close periods of time. So, and especially when you got some players who are injury prone. So it was bound to happen, unfortunately, but we're at the finish line. We just need to dig deep and get it on out. Just that's what you got to do sometimes.
But at the same time, we don't need to dig deep because everything's done. And that's why I'm a little bit concerned about the last 2 games. Because I feel like, I mean, I know Pi said I will beat Watford. I'm like, don't be too sure about that one because they're at least fighting to come not last, right? So, yeah, we're fighting to come third. But I don't know. I just feel like our players won't give a shit, if I'm honest. And I'm also scared that Tuchel is going to play the wrong players who won't give a shit. But hey, we'll see about that one. I hope I'm wrong. But Pice, just so many small injury concerns everywhere. Like, how has it even come to the situation where all of our forwards are all of a sudden injured?
I don't know. Like the Hudson Odoi thing, by the way, we need more news on that. Like, he has been out for so long. Like,
I swear it's like 3-4 months now.
I just don't understand. I'm pretty sure it's Achilles, right? Which
I thought
there's something strange, man.
And then Tuchel once said, but at this point, also more than a month ago, that it was Achilles injury. Now it's a back problem. But
so strange.
Or was it the other way around? It's so weird.
Like we've had no specific diagnosis on this. Like it's weird. But again, I mean, half of that comes down to the journalists, just like who's out, and then he says, like, I'm sure they know what's going on. Obviously, it's just it would be nice to have some more clarity from someone.
Just ask the question.
Yeah, it's like, can we have some more clarity from someone of, the time frames? Was he due to be back at one point? Did he have a setback? Like, what's actually happening?
I'm sure some of these outlets could get a hold of Callum themselves if they wanted to know.
Exactly, like, it's just weird. He's been on Instagram getting his hair cut and stuff, back in the training. He looks happy and stuff, but he's not, like, to miss. I just don't get it. Like, still missing the last 2 games. Like, we need some more clarity over this because honestly,
so far, it's not like he's not like Tuchel again. He said today he's just in individual training. He's not in team training.
Like,
so
what?
It's not even like he's anywhere near close.
Bro, that's bad as well. If you're just in individual training, like something must be really up. That's usually unless you have a long-term injury, which is what we have to classify as now because we don't know anymore. We don't know when he's going to return. And again, he's not given any time frame. And Tuchel actually doesn't like to give time frames because. Like just in general, when you quote a manager on something, the media will twist it and stuff if they don't come back within that time frame. So I kind of get it, but at the same time, these journalists need to actually ask or get an inside scoop what has actually happened because it's actually ridiculous. If it is Achilles and he's having this much pain at 21, like. Bro, he's not in for a good future because it's a horrible injury.
It's a problem. But I remember at the time when it first happened, I think he said it's the other Achilles, not the one that got injured.
Bro, it's bad.
It's even more weird.
It's bad, bro.
Arguably. Or is it less weird? I don't know. It's a tough one. But with that said, that we do have a few injury concerns. And obviously the question, do certain players that are very likely to leave get more game time? Let's get into the team that we think we should be playing. Us 3, right? By the way, Leicester, I mean, they kind of found form again in terms of they won 2 games in a row, but it was Norwich and Watford. And yes, I know they won 3-0 and 5-1, but it's Norwich and Watford, right? They lost to Everton. They lost to Roma in the, obviously, Conference League semi-final. They lost to Tottenham. Then they drew to Roma. They drew to Villa. They drew to Everton. How did they play Everton twice in a row? In the space of 2 weeks. That's mental. They lost to Newcastle. I mean, like they've not been on a great run of form. I know the last 2 games, but it was again Norwich and Watford. So, Clutch, I'll start with you now in goal because Mendy is the one that stays in the summer, and Kepa is the one that's probably getting sold. It should probably be Mendy, shouldn't it? Even if he's struggling, if Kepa were to stay, I'd say definitely play Kepa. But because you expect him to leave, surely it's got to be Mendy, right?
Yeah, I mean Mendy's our number one. Like you said, if Kepa was going to stay, sure. If Kepa's okay with being the backup. I mean, everything we know about Kepa, he's not okay with that. So
But even if he
And-
was okay with that, I think we should get rid because
By the way, can I just say,
he's just some safe money for us to make. Even if
Can
it's
I
not a
just
lot,
say,
it's a
like,
bit of money. Go on.
there's been no rumours lately on actually for a while of Kepa leaving,
True.
so I wouldn't be too sure about this. Like,
Hey,
I
but
don't know.
if we do plan to keep him, right, or if he doesn't end up leaving, then he might as well play these games.
Agreed, but like again, I don't know. Like his
I don't
situation's
know.
so unclear. I think he's gonna have to force it if he wants to move because it's not been on any of our reported things to do. And we've got a lot to do. So
No. Maybe it will come on to takeover is fully done. And Khalid,
Mm.
neither. It's not confirmed by anyone. It's just been reported by Goal.com that personal terms are agreed with Kounde. Nothing with Sevilla is agreed yet. But it's not clickbait because that's actually what I said. But anyway, yeah. So, but then, Pies, because we still think Kepa will leave, also kept Mendy on your end for tomorrow?
Yeah, and I'd play Kepa on the last game. I'd like to see Kepa in one of these two games.
Oh, see, if we're going to play him in one, I'd rather tomorrow. I feel like the last game should be the main.
Okay.
I don't want him against Tielemans again. No, thank you.
Yeah, you'd rather against Watford
True.
than Leicester, though. Yeah, you'd rather against Watford than
Fucking
Leicester.
40-yard long shot at Stamford Bridge. Yeah, play Mendy.
Yeah,
Jesus.
okay. We'll go with Mendy. We'll go with Mendy. But now we'll get to the big one. Does Rudiger play? I mean, Christensen, let's just assume he's not going to be available. If he plays, he plays. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But the big one is if Rudiger plays. Now, I would, in theory, say no. But I'm not sure if we have enough defenders to not play him, if I'm honest. Like, we played Lewis Hall, left side centre-back, against Brentford in the... was it against Brentford? Or in one of the cup games, anyway. So we could play him there. Obviously, we have Malang Sarr, but if Thiago Silva's rested, then who plays there? And then who plays here if we don't want to play Aspie either? So let's start with you, Pies. Does Rudiger play for you? Not predicted 11 because the way what Tuchel said, I guarantee he will play. But would he play for you?
No. I
Who
said
would play
once
instead
we put me on the spot now.
That's what I'm saying. Or just give me your back three. It doesn't just have to be who's directly instead of Rudiger.
I can't play slow. I'm sorry.
That's the problem.
That is a problem. But I did say
Lewis
like a few
Hall,
weeks
like,
ago.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not really. I don't know. By the way, I've been informed by youth propagandists that he's actually not a defender and he's a midfielder, and they don't want to see him there again. So
No,
I won't
I
put
know
him
that.
there.
I know that. I'm just saying. I actually know he's midfielder / left wing back. Certainly not a left centre back. But that's why he did play one game for the first team. So,
And he was brilliant.
Yeah, no.
I'd personally probably
I don't know,
play Sarr if I'm honest. I know you don't
Nah,
like
I
it, but
wouldn't. I'd
I
play
don't care.
Rudiger over
I
Sarr.
don't care. I'm not playing Rudiger.
I can't watch Sarr again. I'm sorry, he's so bad. I'm not having Sarr. He's like, I'm done with that guy. He's so shit. I don't know. Fucking Aspie on the left. I don't know. I'm not sure. Chalobah, he played a bit there.
It
But then I
depends on who
mean,
you fill the rest of the team with, I guess.
yeah. No. You know what?
Pies, you want me to go first?
Yeah, I don't know, bro. Like, because I don't want to play Rudiger, but I don't want to play anyone else, or I don't think it's realistic. So
I'll go
Go
first
on,
then.
Clutch. Go on. What do you
And here's my logic. Aspie will play one or both of these games. He's club captain. If he's going to go out, they're going to give him a way to go out.
Aspie,
So he
like
will-
guaranteed to play against Watford, that's for sure.
So I would put Aspie there. If not, because I would also want to try Lewis Hall either there or left wing back. But Aspie would probably be there. If this is assuming Thiago Silva's fit, by the way. If Thiago Silva's not fit, I put Chalobah in the middle, Aspie on the right, and then I would have to play Rudiger. But I'm putting Thiago Silva in the middle and then Chalobah on the right.
And is this with Reece James getting rested or Reece James playing right wing back?
Reece James will be playing right wing back.
Fair enough. I mean, I would not be totally against it. Again, that only works if Thiago's fit. If he isn't fit, I still wouldn't play. I'd probably play Sarr then, if I'm honest. No, I don't like. I don't like this idea that play. Like, there's nothing to play for. If Sarr is to be a backup option next year, then any single second of extra game time experience in the
Good
Premier
Lord,
League
please
you
don't.
can have will make him better. and I don't need to make Rudiger better for Real Madrid. Like, no.
I just don't think Sarr's staying, so that's why.
Maybe he won't be staying. Maybe I'm not even saying he will, but I'm saying I do not need Rudiger to get more game time. Like I just really don't. Like you're going, off you go then. We have nothing to play for anyway. So even if Sarr plays and is shit, who cares? And also with the recent results we've had over the last 2 weeks, we had awful results even with Rudiger playing. So what's the difference?
Well, I still don't want to finish fourth, to be quite honest with you. But
neither do I, bro. Neither do I, and I get that. But
I don't know. It's a weird one because I said I wouldn't play Rudiger, but think about the options now. You're like, I mean, this back three looks okay, but like I'm looking at Silva. I mean, does he play again? Like, bro, he was limping off. By the way, he limped through the tunnel.
I know, but Tuchel didn't mention him today, so I don't know. Tuchel didn't mention him when asked. Jeremiah said it there. Silva injured. Well, we don't know. Tuchel didn't say he was.
I did see a video of him limping out of Wembley, but again, he could have recovered. I think, to be honest, thinking about this lineup, if there's going to be a crazy lineup where it's like, you know, nothing to play for, it's going to be the last day. I think tomorrow we probably see a strong team.
Yeah, no, I agree. Predicted 11 is going to be a strong team. But I mean, it depends on who's fit in midfield again as well. But if Thiago Silva is fit, you also could just drag Reece James into there and play Loftus-Cheek right wing back, although we'll probably sub him off after 12 minutes again, so no difference. But let's do those wing backs then. I mean, if it isn't this, or it's not Thiago Silva, it's Rudiger anyway, if we're honest with ourselves, right? Like, if I tell you what I think the team will be, if Silva is fit, it's Rudiger, Silva, Chalobah, and on the last day, Rudiger, Silva, Aspie, unless Silva doesn't play. Do you know what I mean? That's what I think it will be, but I would go for this. I would agree with Clutches. Pies, you okay with it? You okay with it if you can't decide on anything else?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care about defense, to be honest with you, but as long as I don't know, as long as Silva's fit and healthy to play, I think we have a chance.
There you go. Let's do the wing backs then. Marcos Alonso is the next one. Does he play or not? I mean, he wants to leave. He's not guaranteed to leave like Rudiger, but he's reportedly wants to leave. We reportedly, as a club, want to let him go. Us as fans most definitely want to let him go. Do we need to play him again? I don't know. The problem is we don't have any other backups. Do you now play Kennedy? Do you play Lewis Hall? Do you play Saul? What do you do, Clutch?
See, this is where I'm kind of conflicted because you know what? I'm not conflicted anymore. Alonso, have fun in Barcelona. Give me Lewis Hall.
Lewis Hall. Is he in do we know? Is he in first team training? Did he join?
No idea. I
No
don't
idea.
know. The annoying thing is you can't access many training photos anymore because of the sanctions.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Unless Chelsea posts them directly, you literally have no idea who's doing what.
Okay. It's a tough one.
Didn't he say? I didn't watch the press conference, but I saw a few people moaning earlier. Like, did he say? I think he got asked about the youth or something, and he said like, people who deserve to play will play, and then someone said, well, he's playing Barkley.
And then he made the example of Rudiger and said, you know, Tony, for example, he deserves to play. There's no need not to let him play these last 2 games.
Interesting.
So I think
I don't think Lewis Hall
again,
will
I'm just
play.
picking my team.
I don't think Alonso. I think Alonso will start, but I'd rather just see Lewis Hall.
Yeah, and if Lewis Hall say isn't in contention for some reason, then I'd probably pick Kennedy just because I don't care. Play 1 game, hopefully he's good, increase his value. That's my only logic. Price, what about you at left wing back?
Yeah, I would probably go with Lewis Hall or Kennedy. I mean, even Saul maybe. Not Alonso.
He's leaving all the same, so
yeah. I'll put Kennedy in there actually. Yeah, bit of Brazilian favela sauce. No, but in all seriousness, like I think Alonso's going to play. Like as I said, if we see like a team with like Kennedy's Hall and stuff, I think it'll be the last day. But even then, I don't feel like Tuchel's the manager in a Premier League game to do this. I think fans are going to have an issue with this. By the way, I think we'll see a lot of blah, you know, what the fuck's Tuchel doing? Nothing to play for. But you know, I don't see all these changes.
No, neither do I. Again, but we're not doing a predicted 11. Like if it was predicted 11, it'd be very simple at the moment because there is so many injuries. You just rattle off one after the other. It's Mendy, Rudiger, Thiago Silva if he's fit. Aspie or Chalobah if they're fit, Reece James, Alonso, Jorginho, Loftus-Cheek if Ruben and Kante aren't fit, and then Lukaku, Pulisic, Mount. Like, if it's a predicted 11, it's pretty simple to rattle off, right?
Yeah, no, I do agree. Just
yeah, it is a tough one. I do get what you mean. But on the right side, Pies, do you think it should be Reece James as well? Do you want to Reece James to start there, I presume? Or do you think he should get rested?
I mean, I always want Reece James to play, so I'm going to put him in there. But I mean, could be Aspie, could be Ruben, but I'll stick with Reece James, yeah. Because I swear, if we win, what do we need to even finish third? I swear we need a certain amount of. How many points do we need?
I think we only need 1 point.
Oh, fuck
1
it!
point or a win.
Play Reece James then. If we need a point, get the point and then play anyone you want on the final day. You know.
Yeah, essentially we need a point.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to get hammered to Leicester personally, so I will put James in there. So we do have some senior players, although I think going back to predicted, obviously it's probably not even gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be obvious.
Yeah, but even I would agree. Even I would agree, just because. Well, I think we're probably going to have to play Ruben in midfield because I don't think Kova and Kante will play, if I'm honest, and maybe shouldn't play because I don't want to overdo it with injuries. So the cup final was maybe fair enough risking him, but not now for me. And Clutch, I mean, elaborate, but you said earlier already, Reece James, that right wing work for you?
Mostly because who else do you play there? You can't play Ruben there because he's got to go into the midfield. And do you want me to say I want Jorginho and Kante? No, because Kante was terrible. I don't want terrible Kante back. Jorginho was great. Ruben deserves to have a start after, well, I won't say it to spare your feelings a little bit, but yeah, I think Ruben should be in the midfield. James should be on the wing.
I just saw your text from earlier, by the way, Clutch. I have not seen this until now. Was that about Kounde? About who was that talking about? That 43 million thing?
Dembele.
Uh-huh. Okay, I hadn't even noticed this. I don't know. I was off the scale today. I do apologize. But yeah, Reece James, the right wing back, does make sense. Now, Clutch, do you agree that? I mean, you just said it there with Ruben and Jorginho. Did you say what's the other one? But is that to not overplay Kova and Kante, or would you even go for a Saul?
Well, Kova's pretty much a very big doubt. I don't really want to play him on his. I mean, did you see the size of his ankle? Did anybody see that picture?
I think you've got to keep in mind, though, that he probably had like miles and miles of tape around that ankle. So it was probably not quite as swollen as the picture looks.
I mean, Tuchel said he's surprised he fit his ankle in the boot.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure
it was. I don't know why. I mean, talking about taking risks, I mean, holy shit. Fucking hell. Like, how was he even running if he had
it wasn't worth it, was it?
No, not really.
He wasn't even that good. Not due to fault.
I'm not surprised either.
He clearly struggled with it. Yeah,
ankle like that, shit, probably.
Yeah, but for me, I hate that we've come to this point where I don't want to play Kante anymore. But I will say, if it is one thing you know about Tuchel, is if Kante's fit, Kante plays. So if you're doing predicted 11, it'll probably be Jorginho, Kante. But for me, I want Ruben and Jorginho in the mid.
Is Kante so fully fit? Are we so sure of that? Maybe he is. Maybe he is. And no, Dexter, because we have by 20 better goal difference than Tottenham. So if we only get 1 point, we will be above them easily on goal difference. There's no way that will get caught up. Well, with 1 game for them and 2 games for us, there's no way that happens. So we need 1 point. That's why we need just 1 point. Fair enough then, Clutch. Pice, on your end, what do you think? Ruben and Jorginho, Kante and Jorginho, maybe throw Saul in there. What do you think?
I want to do Kante and Ruben. Yeah, Kante and Ruben. I think Jorginho. Yeah, I was going to go with Jorginho, but I think
he was the only one who was good in the last game.
No, he was, but I feel like he might. I don't know. I feel like he's played quite a lot lately, so
yeah.
I think Kante's going to play as well. I almost like slightly doing it as predicted as well. Kante and Ruben. I think the only problem with that is obviously Ruben will probably then sit, which I don't really want. So okay, me personally, I'll go Jorginho and Ruben, but I think it'll be Kante and Ruben. Just a prediction.
That's very interesting. Could be. Hey, he might start them off after 12 minutes and bring Jorginho on. But yeah, I'd probably pick that. At the same time, At this point, does Loftus-Cheek exist in this squad? I don't know. So maybe it's Jorginho and Kante. We'll see. Front three. Again, we don't have that many players available. Pies, before I ask Clutch about this with the whole Pulisic missed chance and everything, does Pulisic start again for you after the last one? Or do you now go for, say, Mount Ziyech? Or is it Pulisic Ziyech? Like who? Because it's probably going to be one. I feel like Ziyech deserves to play. He needs to get a game at some point, and why not now? But the question is instead of who in my head.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Mount off the left for once. Mount off the left, Ziyech on the right, maybe. I don't like Ziyech on the left, so that's the only reason I'm doing that. Wouldn't mind seeing Pulisic again. I just think, obviously, again, he's played quite a few games lately. Ziyech, as you said, deserves a game coming towards the end of the season, but I don't know how likely it is that Ziyech starts, in all honesty. He hasn't really been featuring at all. So, I mean, it's quite a broad shout at this point to be putting in Premier League starting 11s. Just anyone but Timo Werner, to be honest with you. That's all I care about.
He's injured anyway, thankfully. So.
Oh, is he? Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Hamstring is done. So, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, Havertz is a doubt. Let's pretend he's fit, Pies. Is it then Lukaku or Havertz that starts?
Havertz. Definitely Havertz. I was disappointed with Lukaku's Wembley performance. I don't know. I just don't think he held the ball up.
This time 15.
Yeah, something like that. I initially like.
To be fair, he was subbed off. I don't understand why. I know he was tired, but
we definitely had a problem going forward.
How was that going to work? Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that as well. Like, if Ziyech, I always think if Ziyech plays, you have to play Lukaku. So maybe I do play Lukaku actually because I've chosen Ziyech. So yeah, maybe I do go Lukaku. That's sprung up on my mind. Yeah, and then probably Havertz on the final day because I still feel like Lukaku might go. Havertz obviously staying, so
Havertz I'll go with Lukaku. If you've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he's doing with copied Mount, but personally, I like Havertz with the long hair, but it's what it is.
Yeah, and you say long hair. It wasn't exactly long, was it?
Yeah, not long, but like there's an old picture of him. Yeah,
I'm just trying to get it up now. I think Con tweeted it. I'm gonna get his tweet up quickly. Shout out Con, by the way. Hope he has a good night at the pub. We'll see him again soon on streams. Don't worry. No, he was like, oh yeah, I made plans to go to the pub, but I haven't been on streams in a while, so I'll come. And I was like, mate, all right, calm down. But yeah, so Havertz is basically just copying Mount's haircut now. But hey, bromance is a bromance. So let me just get the other one back on screen. That was a very short share screen moment here. But you're sticking with that Mount Ziyech Lukaku then, Pies, before I go to Clutch?
Yeah, I would like to see Havertz, but I think Ziyech and Lukaku, I like their link up. Honestly, if you're going to have Ziyech, he's going to cross the ball a lot. Havertz obviously has scored headers, but I think Lukaku, I want to see them link up.
Okay. Fair enough. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, haven't told you about this yet. Please do subscribe right now, immediately. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers again because I couldn't do content around the final and I actually can't do the Watford game itself for various reasons. I'll explain that on Friday or next Saturday. But probably unlikely. But hey, again, subscribe if you haven't already anyway. Every new subscriber counts, so please do hit that big red subscribe button down below. It means the world. And tell all your mates about it to do the same. And smash the like button as well on your way out. But Clutch, what's your front three? Does it include Pulisic? If it does, instead of who does it include Pulisic?
I'm in a bit of a conundrum because I think Pulisic deserves to start because he was by far and away our best attacker. I'm sorry, he had better numbers than Diaz. Only thing is, Diaz missed more opportunities, but he got called man of the match. I do think Jorginho was better.
Missed more opportunities than Diaz, if I'm honest. I mean, better opportunities, but not more opportunities.
No, Diaz missed more opportunities.
Yeah.
I think he was like 1 for 4, and Pulisic was 1 for 2 or something like that. 1 shot off, 2 shots off. But no, I thought he was absolutely one of our better players. So do I think he deserves to be dropped? No. So would I play him? Yes. But I want to see Ziyech. But I think Mount needs this game after missing that penalty to kind of reassert himself, to not like hurt his confidence too much.
Shout. I agree.
So I do want Mount there as well. I am going to go with Pulisic, Havertz, Mount.
See, and I know people are going to hate this for Ziyech from me, but we're getting an American owner. Pulisic staying. We all know Mount staying. If I give it the whole no point giving Rudiger games, if I only want to give the players games that are, that I see staying here, whether rightly or wrongly so, then I'm probably going to have to pick Pulisic. I'm just going to put Pulisic next to Ziyech here because that's what, they will be the ones on the left. Well, I guess Mount is more likely to in the end playing the right. So I'll do it like that. But if it is Ziyech, he would obviously be on the other side and Mount would be on the left. I'm not sure about the striker, Now, if we pretend Havertz is just fully fit and not a doubt, I would probably play him. But even if he is available, he's probably not at his best. So therefore, I might play Lukaku, maybe. I don't know. See, while I was disappointed with Lukaku in the cup final, and some of the runs just make no sense, and he does certain things which for example, Reece James receives the ball, and obviously this was actually my first game of Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel that I saw in the stadium, that FA Cup final, because I've seen many games before, but not since Tuchel took over, because my last two games were the 3-0 loss against Bayern Munich at the Bridge, and when we beat Spurs 2-1. That was the last two games I saw in person, and I was obviously still Frank Lampard. And I'm not sure if I learned new things about the way Thomas Tuchel plays, but something that you notice on TV, and also it's even more so on the ground, when Reece James receives the ball, Reece James very, very, very rarely plays a quick, deep ball to any of the forwards. He might play it, but only on his second, third, fourth, or fifth touch, not his first one, which is probably my only and my biggest criticism of Reece James. But regardless, every time Reece James received the ball, as he was about to receive it, Lukaku started the run. As if Reece James was about to play a first-time pass. And those are the things I don't understand about him. How can I see it? How can I, as a fan, be aware that Reece James pretty much never plays that first-time pass? But Lukaku doesn't know it. Those are the things I don't get. Because do I think us as a team were good enough and brave enough to do more with Lukaku? No, I don't think so. Yeah, when he then did see the ball, it wasn't good enough. But I think as a team, we weren't good enough, and had we played better as a team, he would have played better. That's kind of my perspective on it. So I wasn't happy with him, but it was a bit different to what it's been in other games. One that annoyed me as well when he crossed Mount. When we tried to hit on a counter-attack, Mount was steaming from right to left, and then Lukaku crossed him. Why did you cross it? That made no sense. You are the one, Mr. Lukaku, that doesn't like your right foot. So don't go on the right side where you're forced into the right foot shot, unless you come inside, and that makes it easier for the defender to defend. And also, you forced Mount into a weak foot pass or outside of the pass, which was for him more difficult. So those are the things I don't understand. But there's, again, I don't know if a not fully fit Havertz is any better. So I don't know. So because one of you said Havertz, one of you said Lukaku, I just not decided. Just we'll leave both on the screen and we'll just figure it out tomorrow. But now, Pies, like I say, it's a little bit of a crazy team. Like we have Lewis, Hawley, and Kennedy. It's not going to be that. But do you still, and this is not like, do you want us to beat them? Do you still think we can and will beat them? What do you think?
Is that depending on the team we put out, or?
Well, you can, depending on that, if you want.
I mean, if we play like Lewis Hall or Kennedy, or I don't know, if we heavily rotate, I think it will probably be a draw. But if we play like our strongest 11, whatever that is, or like a really strong 11, I think we'll win. But again, to be honest, it's so unpredictable how we're playing at home. Like I don't know what our reaction is going to be to losing that cup final. Like I really don't.
Can I just bring something up? I know we should have. Sorry, Pies. And we probably should have brought it up earlier. But now with the situation, maybe we should just play a back four. The question is, do we have enough midfielders available? But that, because at left back and a back four, we'd probably all mind Sarr a little bit less. And then we can just play Ziyech and Mount and Pulisic.
Yeah, but then you'd probably have Ross Barkley playing as an 8. I mean, do you really want that? I mean, I don't mind, but...
No, I was thinking Loftus-Cheek and Mount as the 8.
Okay. What, Jorginho as a 6?
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah,
I know it's
yeah,
not
it'd be
ideal,
something I'm
but
open to. No, it would be something I'd be open to.
would you be open to it as
I
well?
don't know.
You're asking me if I'd be open to a back four, Laurenz. What do you think?
He doesn't
Well,
like Tuchel's back three.
True. Let me
Do you,
just
Clutch?
do. You know what? Let's just change things up. Let's do something interesting. Just a quick one. I know we've been here for a while already. Just change it up to how they would where they would probably initially be, or will it be Aspie at left back? Could be the case. I reckon so. And then I'll ask you guys whether you think it's Sarr or Aspie to be more likely. Mount, you come here. You just go away. Sorry, boys. Put Pulisic here. Here. That kind of fixes a lot of our decision problems that we had if we play like that. Now the only problem is, in my head, Aspie or Malang Sarr at left back. Pice, which one of those two would you pick at left back?
Aspie, probably. Yeah, probably not Manning. So
Yeah, I mean, okay.
it's so weird though, because like we've got a game obviously on the weekend, and I think if Aspie's leaving, he's going to start, so he can have a send off.
Yeah.
So,
but do you think they know
I don't
that
know.
yet? By the way, whether he's leaving, I think that's not decided. If I'm honest.
Well, I think Aspie has maybe told them.
Yeah, but whether we will let him is
know.
a different question, because it's now not on purely Marina and Roman anymore. Now somebody
I
else
think-
might have a say in that.
I think we will, because he's been, such a servant, such a long servant, that we would probably honour any agreement he has got with another club. Personally, I think that's what would happen, but we'll see. I don't know.
Fair enough. Now, Clutch, if it was to be a back four, whether it's call it a 4-3-3, call it a 4-1-4-1, whatever you want to call it. By the way, we essentially play this also when we play a back three. At least this attacking shape. We have the identical one. This is just wing backs. This is the 2 10s, and this is the striker. We do the same thing, obviously a bit higher up the pitch, but that actually doesn't change. Even if we play completely different formation, that attacking shape identical, just in different areas. And it's not wing backs; it's like these ones. But Clutch, is this how you put it out? Would you put Sarr instead of Aspie potentially?
No, I think Aspie's more fit to be the left back, even though he's not left-footed. We've seen Aspie at the left back position quite a few times in the past, so I think he'd be a little bit better, more experienced at that. And I mean, going forward, I mean, look at that right side. You'd have Mount, Ziyech, and James linking up together. I mean, that's scary for anyone. And you have Lukaku, presumably, because I think Lukaku would play up front in this formation. You'd have him occupying defenders and Pulisic making the late run. So we will create chances with this, no doubt. I mean, that's why I like this. Is you can put more of an overload on the defense. It's not that I hate the back three. It's just I hate watching us try to attack in the back three. Sometimes it looks good. I can't lie, but other times you're just like, oh my god, the attackers are just so outnumbered. What do you want them to do? So I think that would solve this problem a little bit. You're putting Mount in his best position, in my opinion. I think coming from a deeper position, kind of like Lampard used to do, that's kind of his thing. That's where he shines the best, is when he comes from makes those late runs. So, I mean, this is what I would do if I had full control. But if we do the back three, I'm not really bothered. I mean, the back three has served us well over the last year. I just think we can be a little bit better.
Fair. Hey, I mean, I'd like to see it. Like I say, I mean, yeah, we want to still third, but at the end of the day, that's nothing but pride. And apparently we are proud of losing a cup final. So what do we have left of that anyway? So at that point, does it matter? So it's like, might as well try things, Again, don't play the Rudigers. Try the Thiago Silva and Chilwell in the back four. See how it goes. Give the Jorginho there. I don't know. If you want to play flipping Chilwell as the DM and you play, I guess, Rudiger at the back and just try whether Chilwell as a DM is a valid option. If you want to try that to give yourself extra knowledge for next season, do that too. I don't care. I'm not that fast. But just try something. Don't do. Honestly, I know I said the predicted 11 earlier, but if he just does that, it's so dead, man. Like, what's the point? These players are the ones you complain about on a weekly basis, that they make too many mistakes, that we're not up for it. Like, then stop playing all the same players all the time then. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm half done with this team. I'm fully done with this season. Just get it over and done with, man. Just get it over and done with. And in my opinion, give players that haven't had that much time except Saul because he's leaving anyway. Just give them some minutes. Do you know what I mean? That's why I want Ziyech to play. That's why I was actually a big fan of the back four idea, because then I can play Ziyech, Mount, and Pulisic, because I want all three of them to play. I think Pulisic deserves it, but also needs it after missing the chances, and could do with a game where he can almost make up for that a little bit. Obviously, he won't make up a trophy, but will put more positive things back into the fans' minds if he does something useful. Mount, exactly like Clutch said, needs to start after that penalty. Can't let him, sit on that for too long, I don't think. And Ziyech should have played more over the season anyway. So yeah, I'd be quite a big fan of it. Pies, I know I started all of this by asking you, do you think we can beat them? But now I just still continue that question in a sense, but ended up with a score prediction, I suppose.
Bloody hell, score prediction at home. These have not gone well this season. 2-1 Chelsea. I think Leicester will score. No, I think Chelsea will score first. It will go to 1-1. I think we'll score maybe 70th minute, something like that. I don't think we're going to walk over them. I think it's going to be quite a difficult game, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Clutch, what about you then?
Are you going to the game, Pius?
Yes, which probably makes it even
losing.
more. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
probably drawing 1-1.
My record, bro. Jesus Christ, my record this season at Stamford Bridge has been quite horrific. So, yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
Go on, Clutch.
No, but if we're playing a back four, we most likely concede a goal. So I would go. I'm gonna go 3-1. I'm gonna be positive. 3-1.
Fair. I'm going to say 4-0. Why not? It'd be so typical if Chelsea, now that nothing matters and who gives a shit, all of a sudden we beat Leicester 4-0. The most Chelsea thing I've ever seen. Not the most Chelsea thing, but the most, at the moment, Chelsea thing. Or we lose 1-0, draw 1-1.
The most Chelsea thing to happen would be beat Leicester 4-0 and then lose to Watford 1-0 on the final day. That would be the most Chelsea.
Draw 1-1. That would be it.
Okay.
Not even lose. We don't lose often. Just draw 1-1. And probably with an 88th minute equaliser or something.
From one of the centre-backs who's never scored this season. Yeah,
exactly.
We started Nketiah's Premier League career off, and now, nearly signing a new contract with Arsenal. Nice one.
Hey,
brilliant.
Roy Hodgson might put himself up top and get a last Premier League goal. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't doubt it. I absolutely wouldn't doubt it. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back tomorrow for the Player Ratings live stream. Of course, please, before you're on your way out, again, do subscribe. Every subscriber counts. I would love to get to 15,000 subscribers before the end of the season. Not going to happen, but let's do then, before we sign Kounde, shall we say? And we never know how quickly that could happen. So get on that. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and please check out the links to both Pice and Clutch. Check out Pice's website, chelseafc365.com, and Clutch's Twitter. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up to Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and we'll see you next time.